Hi, David Irvin, Forestry Division. I'm in Wyandotte State Forest today, and the reason I'm here in the beautiful northwest hills of Connecticut is I found this a good opportunity in this oak forest that's probably between 100 and 120 years old to talk a little bit about the oak dilemma that foresters face here, just for a little bit of education's sake. Now, I probably alluded in recent videos about how oak is very hard to get back, and in the next century, the 21st century, we stand to actually begin losing a lot of our oak forests that we're known for here in Connecticut. Now, why would that be when it's so prominent and so present everywhere? Why would this be such a challenge for foresters? Well, it's in the fact that oak is a disturbance-dependent ecosystem and regime, and it actually takes a lot of work to get it back. Now, when a lot of this oak forest was regenerated and arrived on the scene, we're talking about the turn of around the 20th century. There was a perfect storm of situations going on. We had rampant wildfires, thousands of acres a year, like you just wouldn't imagine today in Connecticut. We had American chestnut suddenly dying and making huge canopy openings of full sunlight that the oak took advantage of. And this may have been a chestnut forest, because I'm looking around and I see chestnut sprouts all over the place, including right here underfoot. So there was probably a chestnut forest here. We didn't have the deer back then to browse on all the regeneration like we do today. And there was a lot of charcoal production in northwest Connecticut. The hills here in the northwest were actually heavily cut over for years, for decades, again and again, to make charcoal to feed the brass and iron industries. So this was pre-oil. Charcoal was very big, and that stopped around 1920. So you had situations where you had chestnut dying, you had fire, you had clear cuts. Oak took over, and it became very dominant on our landscape. Now today, you don't have that. Most of our forest management is of a more conservative nature, thinnings and selection cuts, particularly on private land, because frankly, they look a lot better, don't they, than doing something as blatant as a clear cut. However, if you want to get oak back, it's going to take a lot more work, and that's the challenge we foresters have today. That unless you do a heavy shelter wood type system or a clear cut, sometimes even combined with prescribed fire, you're just not going to get the oak back. And I mean, oak does get established in the understory, even of an older stand like this. I mean, if I'm looking down right now, and I do see a couple of little white oak seedlings here. White oak is the official state tree, by the way, if you didn't happen to know that already. So squirrels plant acorns, things do sprout. But odds are, you come back here in just a few years' time, you're not going to find these seedlings here anymore. They're going to be dead, maybe replaced by similar ones, but they're not going to be here, and they're not going to graduate into the upper canopy of a new forest. And therein lies the challenge. So when you see some of those clear cuts, some of those areas that you just can't imagine why we would do that. From a forestry standpoint, there are some very good reasons that we do that, and it's both wildlife habitat, which we've already discussed, and it's to get back a disturbance-dependent regime, which is our biggest challenge as foresters. It's nothing to get maple, birch, and beech back. It's a lot of work to get these guys back. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed, and see you again soon.